Hey, what's up, boxing fans? This is the Rope-A-Dope Report. I'm your host, Chris Carlson. Make sure you check out ropeadoperadio.com. Check out the show. We've had a lot of great guests. We had Brandon Bam Bam Rios on the week after his big comeback win over Acosta. And also we had Nonito Donaire on as well. Last week we had, yesterday actually, we had Matt Remillard, who's got a big fight coming up against Miguel Mikey Garcia at the end of the month on the Gamboa undercard. But this fight here is going to be, well, it's an interesting fight. I think it's Sergei, I think that's how you say his name, Sergei Dzinziruk versus Sergio Martinez. Dzinziruk is an undefeated fighter. He's been around 154 for quite a while. I believe he fought Santos up there. You know, like I said, he's 37-0. I believe like 23 KOs. The last couple years he's had injury and has had major promotional issues. He solved that and came over here and to get some big fights. And he got a tune-up on Showtime where he looked okay. You know, it took him a little while to get in the groove. But he's a legitimate fighter. He's getting up there in age, so this is a huge fight for him. And it's not like Martinez is a really big middleweight anyway. It's not like he was at middleweight his whole career or anything. So I think the size should be okay. You know, Dzinziruk's got that European style that stands straight up, hands up, but he has a really good jab, and he also can counter. He can box. He's definitely got skills. I think he's a little too stationary. And that will be an issue. I think that will be a key to the fight. But the jab and just overall skill of Dzinziruk is for real. As far as Martinez goes, he's coming off that knockout of the year and fighter of the year accolades from last year over Paul Williams. Hit him with that counter, beautiful counter shot that just dropped Paul Williams on his face. So Martinez is back in it against another solid opponent. You know, he's slick, he's fast, he's powerful, he's just a good all-around, he's a smart fighter, you know what I mean? He does fight with his hands down, but, you know, he uses his shoulders, his body, and, you know, he uses himself very well in his overall body to get away from shots. He's always ducking away and not getting... He does get hit. I'm not going to sit there and say the guy's a defensive wizard, you know what I mean? And another weakness of him is... the fact that the balance, if you see in the Paul Williams first fight and then the Kelly Pavlik fight, there was an issue of balance where he got knocked down. They weren't big shots or anything. In fact, I think Paul just hit him in the shoulder, but he had worked himself out of position and put him in a great position for his opponent to just really just push him down, you know. So I think that could be an issue. Also, Martinez in the middle of the Pavlik fight, was getting beat by that jab, and he was giving up some rounds there. Now, I don't know if he was just kind of, it was, you know, there was an issue there. That jab was starting to land, and Pavlik was coming forward with that jab, and he was having a lot of success to where, you know, Martinez had to win those last three to win the fight, and obviously that knockdown as well helps in the point system. So Martinez is not a perfect fighter. No, nobody's a perfect fighter, but for how slick and how many skills this guy has with the power, the speed, like I said, all the defensive ability and the volume. Usually a guy that moves a lot doesn't throw as much punches, but he really can rally and flurry. He's a really fun fighter to watch with that style, but he does have his weaknesses with balance. And obviously with the hands down, no matter what, although I say, you know, he ducks a lot of his head and uses his shoulder and doesn't get a lot of clean punches, you know, he rolls with the punches well. You know, the fact is your hands are down. You know what I mean? And Dzinziruk's got a power jab. He really does. He's got a good jab. So I think that this is going to be a tough fight. I think it's going to be a decision. Unless it's cuts or something like that. I think Dzinziruk's activity, though, in the last couple years, even though he did get his rust off in one fight, I think the activity will kind of catch up to him, whereas Martinez has just been honed and going and active and is really on a roll. So I'm going to say a tough fight, though. I wouldn't doubt if Martinez kind of takes the early lead. Dzinziruk starts getting to him with the jab and counter shots because he can counter, too. It's going to be interesting because Martinez usually comes to his opponent at some point. I mean, he moves and sticks and moves, but he'll flurry and come to his opponent as well. So it's really going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting style. I think this fight could play out a couple different ways. I wouldn't doubt if in the middle rounds, like the Paul Williams fight, Martinez kind of, I'm not going to say ran out of gas, but he took breaks, and breaks are what you have to do if you're going to fight with the style he fights, where he's on the move a lot. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think no matter what, though, Martinez will pull it out, whether he has to win the last couple of rounds and just flurry and just use that speed. But look for Dzinziruk to really push him, win rounds, and all that. I mean, I think this is going to be a solid fight that Martinez is going to have to figure out a way to win with his overall skill. I like this fight. It's a good matchup, but I am going to go with Sergio Martinez by decision. Make sure you check out ropeadopradio.com. Peace.